Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a contract worker at Formosa Plastics dies after falling 40 feet.
And happening now, a massive warehouse fire in Mathis.
Victoria police investigating reports of shots fired at Our Lady of Victory Church.
Well, the weekend is upon us and the record-breaking temperatures continue over the area. That was our high today, 98. You're not going to believe me when I tell you next week we could be about 2 or 3 degrees warmer. Yes, we will. We'll have all that coming up.
And the Victoria Community Center is going to be filled with excitement. We have more in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Victoria Police is investigating a report of shots being fired at Our Lady of Victory Church located at the corner of Laurent and Mesquite. According to witnesses, someone fired shots into the door during the night. Police want anyone with information to come forward and contact them at 361-573-3221 or 361-485-3200. Today, authorities in Jackson County released the mugshot of the jailer arrested Wednesday. 58-year-old Donald Morris is accused of having an improper relationship with an inmate. The Texas Rangers are investigating the case. The county employee faces charges of violating the civil rights of a person in custody and improper sexual activity with a person in custody. Bond was set at $75,000. 25 News Now has requested the arrest warrant in the case. A young contract worker at Formosa Plastics Corporation died this morning.
Early reports say he fell 40 feet from a scaffold. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel is live at Formosa Plastics and has more. Adam?
Yeah, that's right, Don and Karina. So 25 News Now has learned that a young contract worker has died at the Formosa's Plastic Corporation. So I'm actually in Port Lavaca right now. So if you look right over there beyond that bridge, that's Point Comfort. About 15 minutes up there is where the Formosa's Plastic Corporation is located. For those of you tuned in at 5, they actually asked us to leave the property, so that's why we're here in Port Lavaca, but you can see it there in the distance. So workers reported having a safety stand-down meeting to discuss an accident. They also learned of a fatality in new construction at the Point Comfort location. Early reports indicate that the worker who died was only on his second day on the job and fell 40 feet from scaffolding to his death. It's unclear if the worker had an experienced journeyman with him. It's also unclear if he was tied down with fall protection or if it failed. The name of that worker has not been released, but Calhoun County Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, Tanya Dimmack, pronounced the man dead and ordered an autopsy. So Formosa is located at 201 Formosa Drive in Point Comfort. That's off of FM 1593. So as soon as we have the name of that person that died there, we will release that. So come to CrossroadsToday.com for all of the latest updates. Reporting in Port Lavaca, I'm Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Adam, thank you so much. Friday morning, Victoria County Sheriff's deputies arrested 2 men at a home in the 2600 block of Prince Street. 38-year-old Daniel Jose Camino Real arrested for court warrants, and 33-year-old Gerard O'Neill Farrow arrested for felony possession of a controlled substance. Also there, a juvenile male suspected shooter taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That is connected to a July 2nd shooting in the 500 block of Commerce Street in Bloomington. 3 different weapons were taken in the search. Firefighters from Goliad and Refugio responding to a massive fire at the Coastal Plains Gym Cottonseed Warehouse in Mathis. The warehouse on Highway 359. KIII reports the fire is believed to have been caused by sparking electrical poles. Authorities said firefighters are also working to put out the pallets of cardboard and hand sanitizer that caused embers that are adding to the fire. ERCOT reports Texas set a new unofficial July and all-time peak electricity demand record Thursday. That broke the all-time record set Wednesday. ERCOT has also issued a weather watch for this Sunday through Tuesday due to forecasted higher temperatures, higher electrical demand, and the potential for lower reserves. ERCOT reports there is currently enough capacity to meet expected demand.
The National Weather Service issues excessive heat warnings for 2 area counties. DeWitt and Lavaca counties under excessive heat warning until 9 o'clock tonight. The National Weather Service says heat index values up to 113 degrees are expected. And now we're going to keep seeing a lot of this heat in the coming weeks. But Mac is telling us that on the 24th, if I'm right, we're going to receive a little bit of rain, which I know nobody's going to be complaining for that one.
But with 10 days before then, Mac, hot,
that's
hot.
when we got to power through.
What I'm doing, Karina, is giving everybody a sense of hope that in 10 days, on the 24th, we're on the 14th, that we may actually get a break in the heat. I mean, it'll still be warm, but it'll be only 90. These are the observed highs for today around the area. We got up to 98 here in the city, 95 down in Port Lavaca. Actually, San Antonio set a new record high today of 105. And as Don mentioned a moment ago, I do believe that these temperatures will go up 2 or 3 degrees next week. So we'll have more on that coming up in just a moment.
Thank you, Mac. The Texas Department of State Health Services has launched a fentanyl data dashboard. This is part of the state's One Pill Kills campaign and shows and tracks fentanyl poisoning deaths. Texans can access information that shows fentanyl-related deaths from the past 10 years and by demographics or geography. To visit the dashboard, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com, for more information. Officials in Texas installing 1,000 feet of floating fence in the Rio Grande to deter migrants from crossing the river illegally near Eagle Pass. DPS says they hope this will stop people from crossing. They say 4 migrants, including a baby, drowned just last week trying to cross the Rio Grande. Not everyone is on board with this new move. An Eagle Pass kayaking outfitter suing the state and Governor Greg Abbott, saying the barrier threatens both his business and the ecosystem of the river.
Texas, under orders of Governor Greg Abbott, has sent another bus of migrants to Los Angeles, and it had a few bumps along the way.
This is the 3rd bus of migrants to arrive from Texas, these migrants seeking asylum.
The 3rd wave of asylum seekers from Texas arrived via bus in Los Angeles early Thursday afternoon. 30 people, including 6 children from Haiti, Venezuela, and Mexico, were escorted from Union Station by LAPD officers and received at St. Anthony's Croatian Parish Center in Chinatown.
We're feeding them, where we have clothes, we have toys for the kids, we have a safe space where they can at least breathe and feel that they're safe and communicate with their families.
At the church parking lot, we met LA resident Gladys Leon, who was anxiously waiting to reunite with her cousin, Xochitl.
She was the one that told me that it was gonna come here till late.
She tells us last time she saw her a year and a half ago, things seemed fine. But 3 weeks ago, Xochitl, her husband, and 2 children fled their home in Guerrero, Mexico, after experiencing extreme violence.
There was an issue that happened, I believe, around in May, around the state that they live.
Leon says they took a bus to the border and arrived in Brownsville, Texas. There they filed for asylum status and were granted a bus ride to Los Angeles. LA Mayor Karen Bass's office says they were notified by the city of Brownsville about the transport on Wednesday and activated a plan with its faith and nonprofit partners. Staff from the nonprofit tell us that the 30-hour bus ride here to Los Angeles was not an easy one, especially with the heat.
The bus was overheating, and so they were taking it slow, which extended the journey for, by about an extra 10 hours.
But now they've arrived. At the church, migrants will also get health and mental health screenings and legal support for their immigration cases. In the meantime, Leon says she's just happy to see her family.
I believe she's what do you call, nervous, excited.
And this leads us to your viewer poll this evening. The question is sending migrants to sanctuary cities a good strategy for the migrant situation, yes or no? According to these results, 40% are saying yes and 60% stand at no. We want to keep on hearing from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10. Now, a group of 5 Texas families and 3 doctors filed a lawsuit in state court seeking to block the state's new law that bans gender-affirming care for minors, arguing it violates parental rights and discriminates against transgender teens. The lawsuit was filed Wednesday over Senate Bill 14, a law signed by Governor Abbott set to take effect September 1st. The law prevents transgender minors from accessing hormone therapies, puberty blockers, and transition surgeries, though medical experts say such surgical procedures are rarely performed on children.
Texas General Land Office Commissioner Dawn Buckingham celebrates a ribbon-cutting ceremony and a significant milestone in their ongoing efforts to rebuild communities affected by Hurricane Harvey. The Texas General Land Office awarded a substantial grant of nearly $5.5 million toward the construction of the 21-unit affordable rental complex. The completion of Enclave at Independence provides the community access to safe, affordable, and sustainable housing.
You know, we love being a part of helping communities grow the way they need to grow. You know, what I say every day is the metric that we measure our agency by is you're supposed to serve the people you're supposed to serve, and you're supposed to do it well.
Of these apartment units, 51% are guaranteed for low to moderate income residents.
Today is the deadline for teachers with Houston ISD to submit their resignations without penalty. KPRC reports state law required educators to resign from their contract at least 45 days before the first day of school. If educators resign after the 45-day mark, their teaching certificates could get suspended by the state for 1 year. Houston ISD Superintendent Mike Miles said Friday's deadline does not apply to those moving to another position within the district. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you'll get Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, a 79-year-old man gets bitten by a gator in Florida.
Also ahead, millions of people under dangerous heat warnings all across the country.
Year-old Florida man is home, recovering after he was attacked by an alligator in his gated community early Thursday morning. The victim made a distress call to 911 at approximately 5 a.m., triggering a rapid response from local law enforcement. The Collier County Sheriff's Office says this nearly 7-foot alligator took a chunk out of the man's leg. The victim told dispatch he had been on a morning walk inside his gated community when the gator jumped him.
Well, I'm bleeding. I don't know how bad it is. It's profuse, and there's a lot of skin ripped off, I can see. Probably some muscle. Go figure, out for a walk to stay healthy, eh?
Get bit by an alligator.
Florida Gulf Coast University's Dr. Billy Gunnels researches urban ecology, and he said it appears a mother gator was protecting her young in this incident.
Now, this next story is one we're all feeling. More than 90 million people across the country are under dangerous heat warnings.
Now, a doctor at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in Baltimore says conditions could trigger heat illness in as little as 20 to 30 minutes for anyone outside.
Triple-digit heat across much of the U.S., and it's only getting hotter. The National Weather Service says a heat dome will reach peak intensity this weekend over the western and southern U.S., pushing temperatures as high as 126 degrees or more across the region.
Heat is fatal. It is something that the public needs to take seriously, and it can impact everybody. Nobody is immune.
Phoenix, Arizona has seen temperatures over 110 degrees for 14 consecutive days. In 5 more, they'll break their previous streak. Forecasters predict over 100 daily heat records could fall over the next 3 days. More than 1,000 were broken in June. Outside workers like delivery drivers are struggling in extreme conditions where it can reach 130 degrees or more inside unair-conditioned trucks. Public pools are now critical cooling centers.
Having a pool like this nearby within a mile, 2 miles of your home is incredibly essential.
One environmental author believes fighting climate change starts with city planning.
But we have opportunities to do amazing things and build cities, for example, in new ways. I mean, a simple example is just sort of more green space and urban trees.
Building more climate change resilient infrastructure is an idea shared by the Biden administration.
Let's redesign it. Let's make it safer and more resistant to floods or droughts, wildfires, or whatever the biggest threat is.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
We invite you to see what we're tweeting about on our Twitter page. Our partners at the Texas Tribune have an article about an $18 billion tax cut for property owners heading to Governor Greg Abbott's desk for signature. And now here's Mac.
Well, thank you very much. This is the heat dome that's going to be affecting not only you and me, but pretty much all of the southern half of the state. Where the center is, because it's like a hill, okay, it's like a mountain. So where the center is where the pressure is highest. That's where they're getting the ridiculous temperatures. Now, you know, I've been talking about the high temperature in Death Valley this weekend. It's supposed to be 131. Guess what? People are going down there to visit because they want to be there and feel it. I hope they know what they're doing. We'll talk about your weekend coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, the heat is everything that we're talking about. 93 right about now. It did manage to get up to 98 today, and I'm serious when I tell you this. Next week, we may notch that up 2 or 3 degrees. I know you just can't believe it, but that's we're going to be in this area, the record-breaking area. next week, and I'll tell you why in a second. These are the highs today. 91 at Rockport with a nice breeze. We got a good breeze here, but we still managed to get up to 98. 102 in Gonzales. Temperatures around the state on the ridiculous side. Again, I-35, everybody on I-35 at 100 plus. And if you go west, it's actually worse. The desert Southwest, yesterday, I don't know if you remember this, but the low temperature, the overnight temperature in Phoenix was 95. That was the low temperature. So this is what we expect for tomorrow. We'll still be about 98 as we go through this weekend. It's next week when the center of that bugaboo finally moves over us. So lots of sunshine expected. If you're going to be outdoors, just take it easy. In the middle part of the day, you're going to perspire a lot. If you want the kids to play, sundown would be a good place, a good time. And early in the morning, we can go out there and walk the dog and all that good stuff. Shower activity is at a minimum over the state of Texas, even though New Mexico has some, and so does Oklahoma. And now the heat advisories, well, right on through. I mean, right on through this weekend, right on through all of next week. As I mentioned at the top, 10 days from now, which is July 24th, I expect there to be a little bit of a change, but for this weekend, it is a blazing weekend all over the western, south, and west. Now, the dome is over Arizona. That's why Death Valley and even California, if you know Fresno, California, they're going to be at about 110 to 115. That's the entire San Joaquin Valley over the weekend as well. That dome is forecast to move over us by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. There is a little band of showers that'll come ahead of it, but when it does come over us, yikes, it's going to hurt. That's next week at the peak of the storm, not the peak of the dome that will be on top of us. Then in the 10-day period, this thing is going to back up and go up to Salt Lake City, where they're going to have the heat, and that's going to open up the door to get us a little nice north wind blowing. I'm not saying it's going to get, chilly, but I'm saying we should be out of the triple digits and maybe not as warm. We have a storm out in the Atlantic that cannot get its act together. It's called Don. I don't know why they gave it this name. Oh, here's why they gave it the name. It wobbled up to the north, and it wobbled down to the south, then it wobbled up to the east, and then it's going round and round and round and round. Can't decide what it's going to do, but it's called Don. You get it? It's just, I was waiting for that one. Anyway, on the other side of the world, we've got this storm. This storm is Calvin. It is going to be a hurricane. Then it's going to fall apart, and the remnants are actually expected to reach Hawaii. So that's going to be interesting, but it should not be a storm. For those of you in Port Lavaca, getting up at 83, topping off at 96. Yeah, it's a warm weekend. For Cuero, we stop up at 80, get up to 101. And for the rest of us here in the Crossroads, we're dealing with heat indexes very warm and going up for next week when we should see the triple digits here in the Crossroads. That is your 7-day forecast. Just reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, and we can send you all the tweets and information and all the headlines you need to have. And so now we'll toss it back to Karina.
Thanks, Mac. And now we're going to go to sports after the break.
Howdy Crossroads, we are minutes away from Tapper Scrap 6 and sports reporter Zach Brown is live at the Victoria Community Center with the latest. Zach?
Well, this ring right now empty, but pretty soon the 6th annual Tapper Scrap promises to deliver some of South Texas's best knockouts. But you've been warned, what goes on inside of this octagon is not pretty. There was about 1,000 people that showed up here last year, and it looks like that again this year. They've come to see these fighters put it all on the line tonight. We've got a few title matches coming up in the lightweight division and the bantamweight division, but there's a full card of 12 bouts ready to take it to the mat. Now, let's go back to that lightweight title fight. Both guys are local. We have Port Lavaca's Cole Knapp and Victoria's Johnny Ramirez competing for the first ever lightweight championship belt. Lots of bragging rights on the line. Who's going to win? Only time will tell. Reporting live, Zach Brown, KVUE TV 25 News Now Sports.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, exciting stuff going on at the Victoria Community Center. Not so exciting news. The Victoria Generals are on a 2-game losing streak after last night's heartbreaking loss. In the game against the Seguin River Monsters, the Generals were off to a hot start, scoring 6 runs in 5 innings. The River Monsters were down, but came fighting back in the 5th to score 3 runs to make it 6-4. Victoria continued to add to its lead, and it looked as if it was going to be all wrapped up. But as they say, it's not over till the opera singer sings, and the River Monsters hit a walk-off grand slam to win the game and increase the Generals' losing streak to 2. The Generals will again take on the Seguin River Monsters tonight, looking for win 1 before coming home on Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, the Generals are hosting a strikeout cancer night at Riverside Stadium. The Generals will have an auction selling game-worn jerseys after the game, with 100% of the money going towards the fight against cancer. Gate opens at 6 o'clock with first pitch starting at 7:05 against the River Monsters. 3-time Olympic gold medalist Gabby Douglas says she will return to competitive gymnastics. On an Instagram post on Thursday, Douglas said she wants to find joy in the sport she loves. Douglas added the hashtag 2024 at the end of her post, implying she will compete in the Paris Olympics next year. Douglas won 2 gold medals at London in 2012, including the all-around event and a team gold medal at the 2016 Rio Games. Her return means all 3 previous Olympic gold winners in the all-around event will compete in Paris. Douglas joins 2 previous Olympic winners at the gold all-around event after Simone Biles and Suna Lee were confirmed as registered. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're back in a moment. A little bakery in Minnesota claims to sell the world's best donuts.
And finally tonight, a Minnesota donut shop claims to have the world's best, and they have the name to prove it. This Grand Marais donut shop boasts not just the town's best donuts, not even Minnesota's best, but the world's best. Since 1969. 5 generations of the same family all pitch in to help. That's especially true as they launch their Grandma's book. There's Grandma. This book pays tribute to the woman who started it all 54 years ago. 54 years, that's a lot of dough.
Well, and you're world's greatest. You've got to have a lot of dough, you know.
Oh, yeah. And you should make a lot of dough, too.
Probably.
That's a big statement, though. The world's best donut?
In the world.
In the world?
I think we should have a contest to determine.
Oh, absolutely.
I got it. We need to get eating judges.
That's right.
25 News Now trip to Minnesota.
There you go. All right, for donuts. But that would be getting in that oven there. It could be a little cooler than what we're experiencing right now.
You know, Grandma used to slave over a hot oven, but now they have these ventilation systems that keep it cool for the chef there. So hey, donuts, that's something else we can think about over the weekend. But coffee in the morning, only early in the morning.
Maybe it's iced.
Because iced coffee would be the best thing to do. Looking at a hot weekend, and next week we should get into the triple digit, folks. That's the way it is.
All right. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.